important, which can mislead a lot of people who doesn't understand Islam. So why should we work harder? We have touched on this, I think, on the previous Thursday, when Allah has already decreed the sustenance for me and my success in this world. The reason is because of Allah has created us in such a way that we have to be doing something, in order to get something that is meant for the world. But of course, that does not mean that Allah is not capable of giving you something without even any effort made by you. But that is very rare cases. Allah is capable of anything. But let me correct your understanding on this about the concept of religion and the meaning of Islam. Let me read to you before I continue with what is in our, because this is going to be our last lesson for this chapter. And after that, next week, we will start with how to raise our children in accordance with the Quran and Sunnah. So the concept of religion and the meaning of Islam has all of us know, Islam is known as monotheism, is all encompassing. Okay, so therefore the concept of religion in Islam is likewise comprehensive too. Okay, and all inclusive, comprehensive and all inclusive. Nothing falls outside the perimeter of religion. If you have this understanding, then your understanding is right. And therefore, nothing is outside the border of Islam. In the English language, the word religion comes from the Latin word, which is religa, which means to bind together or to reconnect. The common understanding of religion today is that religion is an institutionalized, okay, I don't know what happened to me tonight. Institutional structure belief system, or in other words, is theology with established doctrines, dogma, and tenets. And together with these come the ritualistic practice, worldview, and value system of the religious community. Now, each religion is a holistic identity and entity by itself with its own community, big or small, the community may be. The Islamic conception of religion also incorporates the meaning of to bind together and to reconnect. And yet it also embraces all other aspects which are considered to be outside the domain of religion by some communities, such as the so-called worldly matters. So the word for religion in Islam is ad-din, spelled as dal ya nun, din. And in Islam, religion or din is all encompassing. The word din is a derivative from the Arabic root word of dal ya nun. As pointed out by Professor Al-Abbas, din also means death, D-E-B-T, death. And thus it embodies and connotes the whole meaning and nonsense reflected in the word death, especially the indebtedness of human beings to Allah. They are creator, Lord, and sustainer. So the indebtedness produces a state of inborn bondage to the creator, and thus the natural inclination in human being to reach out to God. Hence the binding and reconnecting of human being back to God. When this inclination is translated into action, then the religion and submission takes place. At the essence of the core of deen is faith in the one and only God, Allah the Almighty, and this has been said in the Quran, chapter 3, verse 18. There is no God but He, that is the witness of Allah, His angel, and those endowed with knowledge, standing firm on justice, So there is no God but He, the exalted, in power and the wise. So again, the derivative of the word Dal Ya Nun Din is the word Madinah, which means city. Thus, in Islam, a city is also an expression of religion at its collective and communal level. Along with the concept Madinah come the concept of civilization, culture, or what they call as tamaddun. This likewise reflects that in Islam, religion is the essence and spirit of culture, and civilization, which is translated and reflected in the practical aspect of city life, such as being the concept, any government and civil authority, which are the very core of city life and civilization, therefore come within the scope and domain of religion in Islam. And they are therefore accountable to Allah Almighty for all action and decision. Hence, the comprehensive and inclusive and universality nature of Islam permits nothing out or exclusive from the purview and jurisdictions of the Almighty through to its concept of unicity, which is Tawheed, and absolute monotheism, that God of everything and of everybody. Now, can you understand this concept first? Later, I will discuss with you after we have completed this. I will try to speed up so that when everybody gets a fair time to question. So this is narrated by Sayyidina Ali Karamallah that the Prophet ﷺ said, a slave of Allah shall not believe until he believe in this book. And slave is referring to every one of us. You know, first is to testify the testimony of La ilaha illallah and that the Prophet ﷺ is the messenger of Allah, whom Allah has sent with truth. And we have to believe in death, and we have to believe in the day of resurrection after death, and believe in Qada and Qadar. So this hadith that is from Sayyidina Ali Karamallah is great as Hasan. It's a good hadith. In the book of Jami' al-Tirmidhi, volume 4, book 6, hadith number 2024. So any question about this hadith? Can you understand what is being said here? Anybody? Common, silent means no. So the Qada and Qadar here is mentioned in Surah Al-Layl, chapter 92, verse 5 to 10, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى وَاتَّقَى وَصَدَقَ بِالْحُسْنَى فَسَنُيَسِّرُ لِلْيُسْرَى وَأَمَّا مَنْ بَخِلَ وَاسْتَغْنَى وَكَذَّبَ بِالْحُسْنَى فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى. Which means that فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى, as for those that Allah give and fear. Meaning like we need to understand why there are people that Allah make it rich. Unfortunately, most rich people doesn't want to read the Quran to understand. Part of why they were they were given the richness according to the qadar and qadar of what Allah has given is for them. And I mean that richness is to be shared for the poor. Meaning like Allah make that person rich. That means it's also giving the share of the poor. You know, you have to give. This is what it means as for He give and for us to be fearing Him and believe in the best reward. We have to believe whether nothing is being forced, isn't it? If you can understand this verse is telling us, you believe in the best reward, meaning like you know that whatever you do, you will get the reward. I mean, again, if you use psychology, if you use your own intellect, you will also know that normally if you do good things among us, among fellow human, right? You will definitely get the best reward of whatever good that you do. So cannot be that you do good in this world, you will not be rewarded, right? And we will ease him towards ease. That's what the Yusra, the first mentioned Lil Yusra, and then below mentioned Lil Usra. So he will ease you towards ease, meaning like you are more confident and more, you understand that no matter however, because in another verses it's been explained, uh, every hardship will end with ease. Remember? There's another verse of the Quran that Allah mentioned about Usri and Usra. But as for he who withhold and consider himself free of need, if you want to hold back whatever is given to you, you consider that you are free from giving to the needy, then you have to be answerable to Allah, as I mentioned earlier about the concept of religion in Islam. And of course, that is referring to those who deny the best one. They don't believe or they deny. In most instances, more rightly to say is that most of us are in denial. We are denying what Allah has made it clear to us. Okay? We will ease him towards difficulty. So because of you deny, Allah will make your life difficult. Can you understand about this qada and qadar? Generally, you know, I do counseling. Most marital issue is people again who didn't practice. Where actually marriage itself is an ibadah. So after marriage, you have to continue struggling and to make sure that the ibadah has been done to the best of your ability. Then you will definitely be given an ease from Allah. But if you don't, then you will find that's where normally it will end up with divorce. And the thing that the misunderstanding that normally happen in a marriage is very, very minute issue, not something that is major. Okay? So sometimes you see that because of you didn't listen, right? Allah will make that state of your marriage becomes to end. It becomes very difficult for you to be living with someone that you already like. This is what it means here.
Ustaz, a question, Ustaz.
Please.
How do one overcome the obstacles and overcome the hardship? How can a believer overcome this hardship?
Because you have to have faith in Allah.
Because hardships definitely come from Allah. I mean, goodness also come from Allah. But how do we overcome this hardship? Not forgetting that as being humans, we can get easily agitated, or we get or we lose confidence. So how do we overcome that?
Keep on studying. Firstly, secondly is do a lot of zikr. Okay, since you touch on that, I will explain again. The concept of religion in Islam, the deen, is an all-inclusive concept covering faith items and ritual, thought and practice, norms and conduct. The individual and also the society, the intrapersonal as well as interpersonal matters, as well as all aspects of life and living, of death and dying. So inclusive also in the context of deen, such matter has the socio-political order, economic system, law, governance, family, social life, daily routine activities. These are all covered in the religion. Dietary, education, culture, aesthetic, animal, nature, the environment. Nothing, therefore, is outside the scope of ad-din. Nothing is outside the jurisdictions of Allah Almighty, the God of everybody and of everything. Right? So here, Like the word religion, the word Islam, alif, sim, lam, alif, mim, too has its own definitive and derivative meaning. It is from the Arabic root word of sin, lam, mim. Sin, lam, mim, slim, which means peace, as I've been explaining. So, brother, if you didn't get that peace, if you have been doing the pillars of Islam, that means whatever that you're doing is not proper. Because if you are not at peace, and that's where when you are being tested by Allah Ta'ala, you will, you will find that it's very difficult to be able to withstand that hardship for only a moment, right? So that's where you need to check. Of course, the other alternative is to continue striving, jihads, to strive, and at the same time continue zikr, invoking of Allah's name whenever you can, or wherever also it doesn't matter, but whenever you can, you keep on doing the zikr to give you that strength. As I mentioned in my dua just now, about Ya Qawi Ya Matin, you can recite that 626 times for you to be able to go through. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Ustaz.
Okay? So Islam is a religion revolves around advocate, sustain, promote, defend peace and well-being in a person. I repeat, Islam is a religion revolves around advocate, sustain, promote, defend peace and well-being in the person, in the society and in the world. The human world as well as the non-human world. From the root word sin lam mim comes the word Islam as a common noun. So Islam means submission, which incorporates the meaning of acceptance, acquiescence, obedience, compliance, surrender, resignation. That is submission, obedience, surrender, resignation to Allah, the Almighty Creator. As a proper noun, Al-Islam means the religion of Allah Almighty, sent to man in the form of revelation through Prophet Muhammad SAW via the angel Jibril alayhi salam. This is precisely stated so in the Quran. The religion before Allah is Islam. Inna dina indallaha Islam mentioned in the Quran chapter 3 verse 19. Okay, does that answer to this having faith in qada and qadar? It is very important. So here, Sayyidina Ali Karamallahu Haja radiallahu anhum said, we were a funeral at Baqi when the Prophet ﷺ came and sat. So we sat with him. He had a stick with which he was scratching his head towards the heaven and said, there is not a single soul except that his place of entry has been digged. The people said, O Messenger of Allah, shall we not then rely upon what has been written upon? So this is to answer to the question mentioned earlier about, everything if it has already been written to you. So the question here, for whoever is to be among the people of bliss, then he shall do the act that leads to bliss. This is how you can know. And whoever is to be among the people of misery, then he shall do the act that leads to misery. So provided when he knew this, he had to go back to Allah. Go back to him and ask for forgiveness and seek his assistance. So here he said, rather do the deeds for everyone is facilitated as for the one who shall be among the people of bliss. This is another way on how you can rest assured that you will be relieved of all the hardship that you're going through. Then verily he is facilitated to do the act that leads to bliss. As for the one who shall be among the people of misery, will also do the same thing. Then he recited, as for him who has taqwa and believe in al-husna, believe in a happy ending, we will make smooth for him the patch of ease. But he who is greedy and thinks himself self-sufficient and deny al-husna, we will make smooth for him the path to evil. See, if you don't believe also, Allah will give. So this is just to let you know. That's why according to the scholars, if we are being punished, it's not a sign of that we are bad. No, it's not. If we are being punished, is Allah Ta'ala's character, which is being just, is being fair, right? He gave you whatever you want, right? That's why Muslims cannot be comparing with non-believers. If you compare with non-believers, I'm talking about comparing of the material, but what you want to be comparing or what you want to be looking for in them is something that will benefit you in the hereafter, not copy as what they do. Meaning you want to be having a bungalow house, landed property, you want to be driving Jaguar 4.5 or whatever. If you want to copy on that, you will lose the hereafter because you don't have time for all these things and decide it's of no use in the hereafter. So it's not that Islam doesn't allow you. Yeah, I want to be careful with what I say. Understand? Next hadith. Again, why should worry about the hereafter? Why should we worry about the hereafter? So listen to this. Abdurrahman bin Aban bin Osman and bin Osman bin Affan narrated that his father said, which is who departed from Marwan at midday. I said he has not sent him out at this time of the day except for something he asked. So I asked him, and he said, he asked me about something we heard from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Say, whoever is focused on this, whoever is focused only on this world, Allah will confound his affair and make him fear poverty constantly. This is what happened. Generally, these other people who are having problem, of course, like now you're hearing there will be, even tomorrow, the sermon will be touching on, we are to increase our understanding about this qadar Allah, about Allah Ta'ala degree. Because according to the sermon tomorrow, it will touch on more our losing job and things like that. Right? So this is where you need to understand as what is being said here. He has not sent him out, and he said, he asked me about something we heard from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whoever is focused only on this world, Allah will confound his affair and make him fear poverty constantly. These are the people that always like, there's only a few dollars in the bank, only worried. Then this is what happens if you focus on the world. And he will not get anything of this world except that which has been decreed for him. Meaning he will not be richer except for what Allah has decreed for him. And whoever is focused on the hereafter, this is the one that we are supposed to be doing. Whoever is focused on the hereafter, what is the promise said by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Allah will settle his affairs for him and make him feel content with his loss, and his provision and worldly gain will undoubtedly come to him. You see, you have a guarantee, and this is coming from our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, there's a Quranic verse to touch on this. Okay, to touch on this, that Allah promised, as I told you, in Surah At-Talaq. If you have faith in the book of Allah, remember, that's why I keep on mentioning the importance of us, remembering the Quran, reading, at least reading the Quran, or coming back to class for you to be knowing more, right? So one of the chapter that should put you at ease is Surah Talaq. Normally you can see this is being hanged in most of the shops or those people who are selling. They believe they call this the chapter of the 1,000 dinar, the verse of the 1,000 dinar. Okay? Where in this verse Allah have guaranteed you وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ وَحَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. If you remain steadfast in your prayer, Allah promise you that Allah will look after your affairs and then will provide you sustenance from where you don't even know where it comes from. Okay? Any questions so far? So that is the reason why you cannot leave out this concept of barakah, blessing, the concept of blessing. That's why sometimes we go and meet pious people, personally we will speak to him and say, can you help us, can you bless us? Or this is again where you need to be doing a lot of sadaqah. No one has gone bankrupt by sharing, by giving, right? As you know, from the day one, all of us, right, when we were born in this world, Allah has always been giving. That's why Allah is known as Al-Wahhab. Wahhab is giving, never non-stop, right? So how could we be calculating? So give. If you have, give. If you have, give. And it can even help you to be cured from major ailments. And it is not about how much you have. It's not how much you have. But you must believe in this concept of blessing, barakah. Even a small act of kindness can make make a big difference in someone's world. And then that can be heard very clearly in the Quran, in Surah Al-Zazilah, Allah mentioned, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. The deeds that we do as small as an atom is being counted, or as small as a mustard seed, even smaller than that. Allah Ta'ala, which later I will share about the importance of accountability, responsibility, and accountability. And before I go there, maybe I will share, if I have time, I will begin with, you need to know your identity and your entity as a Muslim. What are our identity and entity as a Muslim? Okay? Be careful of the rejected deeds, as we know. This one I have tried and help to make you understand. The prayer is the most important, because sometimes the prayer is lack of quality, hasty. You do it quickly because rushing and no focus. You take it as if that you have fulfilled your obligation. You have prayed. The way it is being presented to Allah Ta'ala has like you are telling him, so what more you want me to do? The prayer is lack of quality and hasty. The prayer is roll up. It's a shabby cloth and servant clothes is struck with it. This is in hadith. The Prophet is the one that said that. Same goes that's why I keep on reminding, be careful of those who always focus on the Rukun Islam. They never put forward the Rukun Iman, but they focus on Rukun Islam. Secondly is alms, it's also a Rukun Islam. Zakat are returned because he gave them only so that people will praise him. This is what happened. Or he gave alms in the presence of women in an attempt to win their affection. Allah Ta'ala, they know of everything, whatever the intention. Fasting also we know. There's an hadith on this also where the Prophet ﷺ They only fast to abstain from obscene and depraved speech. Then their fasting is actually falsified. The same, I have been leading people for the pilgrimage. Not much of a difference when you saw when they come back. It is so. It is written to him because he performed it so that the people will praise him. And now, even if you want to go willingly or sincerely, also you can't because of the COVID-19. He made the pilgrimage with ill-earned gain. That is another issue. And lastly, where most of your prayer will be rejected is if you are rude towards your parents. Okay, or you make their life becomes very difficult. You are the children, but you make your parents' life difficult. Okay, these are all the deeds that you do will be rejected. Be careful, huh? So our objective for Allah to be pleased, the word Rida, with us before our time end in this world. Leave this world with good ending and enter through the gate of paradise, glittering like a star and drinking from river Kauthar or the well of Kauthar. See the palace of gold and silver, pearl, built by the good deeds that Allah has accepted. Drink from the river of milk, honey, and wine freely, wearing the most beautiful clothes and rest therein. This is what the ending is going to be. So that's why I have shared this in my previous lessons, right? I would share again. Like I told you that you ponder for a moment, right? If you are given an offer, you live in this world, as you know, right? No one goes above 100 years of age. Even if they reach 100 years of age, you can see that which no one wants to be living that long because you have lost everything. You have lost your strength, you have lost your whatever, right? So that's why. And then the other offer that is given to us is you live that long with whatever I have proportion for you, and then I will give you as what is been mentioned here in the next one. So it's up to you. So you think, I don't think so that you want to accept the offer of just living in this world for 100 years of age. You are given a landed property, you drive a Lamborghini or whatever, right? I don't think so you want to take that off. But we never thought about it even, as our age are rising, I mean, we are getting closer and closer. So we have to be looking. This will be the main objective as to why we want to be living in this world, to try and do as much as we could so that we can get all these things mentioned. So there are three things that will follow as we know. There is a book on this. The righteous child who makes dua for him, follow him to the grave, right? And then the ongoing sadaqah follow, the reward continue to reach him. And this is what they call it sadaqatun jariyah, that it will be flowing even when you're not there. So that's why I think even here in the context of our society, all mosques now are appealing and posting on even Facebook, to ask for generous people to give charity to the mosque. And lastly, a knowledge that continues to be implemented after you pass on. These are the three things that will follow us to the grave. The rest all that follow, the car that you bought will also follow up to only the surface of the cemetery. After that, somebody else will go. No one bring expensive watches, expensive cell phone with them. Not that I know of for the last 60 over years, or rather, let's put it like 10 over years. We have been burying a lot of our loved that they've gone. None will bring anything. And in fact, you have seen even some countries how their rulers, like king, were also buried in the same manner as the way we are. We don't bring anything. Okay?
Abid, question.
Please.
Okay. There are three things that will follow us to the grave, right, Abid?
Yeah.
Okay, that these three things will follow us, inshallah. And then we are only granted Jannah with the mercy of Allah, correct?
Yes.
So how does these three will help? And if let's say these three follow us, but we never get the mercy of Allah, then we won't be granted Jannah. Right? So how can this be, exchange to have the mercy of Allah?
Okay, the meaning of the mercy of Allah is that is his prerogative. No one knows. Right?
Correct.
So that's why we have to try and put on the effort to score as much point that we could. So at least at the end of the day, as to whether this effort is, I mean, if you really want to discuss about this, if you were to sit down and like earlier as is mentioned, right, most of us are not actually doing what we're supposed to do, isn't it? Do you want to deny that?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, we didn't do as the way we should. And, again, as earlier, I think one of the brother was saying, we are very moody people, especially when times are bad. Oh, the mood is terrible. Innocent people get scolded and they even dare to be scolding Allah. There are people who went up to that extent, putting the blame and pointing and showing a lot of dissatisfaction. Like I told you from the very beginning, that's why we have to go back again to that concept of when we were born, we were with nothing, right? And all have been provided. Allah has been the provider. He has given us everything, and He didn't ask for anything from us, except He made it very clear in the Quran. وَمَا أُمِرْهُ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ. I didn't ask much from you that when you do things, you see the word which is used there is ihsan, ikhlas. That's why you have to complete when you have Rukun Iman, Rukun Islam, and you have to have also complete the ihsan. Ihsan that you do sincerely. You just want to try and please Allah Ta'ala. That is ihsan. I hope that answers to your question.
Thank you, Habib.
Ustaz,
Okay?
Ustaz, question.
Yes, please.
This thing, knowledge that continue, what type of knowledge are we talking about? The worldly matters also considered as if it's benefit the people?
If it is like beneficial for others, yes, it's also considered as something that is good that the child have done.
So basically, as long as it benefit for the society lah, for the people lah.
Right.
Okay.
So
Thank
that
you.
comes to the. I would like to share now for why we need to know our identity and entity. So the most fundamental of identity of Islam is that it is revealed religion. Okay, it is a revealed religion. A revealed religion is a religion that is wholly based on revelation. See, it's based on revelation, and as such, as pointed out by Professor Al-Ataf, the religion should be completed. Okay, that's why when the last verse was being revealed, right? Al-yawma amatu lakum wa amantukum ni'mati. See the word Allah uses, wa raditu lakum islama dina. Because it's completed, wholesome, perfected during the period of the revelation. Nothing is new. What is new is only the legal aspect that will be changing. The rest all remain the same. Which is the period when the religion was established. When the revelation was completed, then nothing should be added to the religion anymore, because all that came afterwards would not be a revelation. Okay, but we're only human construction. What is possible and is in fact necessary is to be translated the teaching as per revelation to the needs of the situation within perimeters of the religion and its tenets, particularly those related to the social aspect of life. This resilience is necessary in order to accommodate situational change that takes place along with time. So if this resilience is to accommodate human development is absent, then the religion would be static and would eventually fade away and die because it would be irrelevant to human needs of the time. Okay? So for Islam, this religion was indeed completed, perfected during the 23 years of prophethood or the missionary of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. In fact, just before the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam demise, the last revelation pronounced that the religion was completed, as I just read to you earlier, and was perfected, and that Allah Almighty now acknowledged and accepted this religion to be truly, genuinely His religion. Even the very name of the religion, Islam, was given by Allah Almighty Himself. Okay? So that verse that I was mentioning is in chapter 5, verse 3, where Allah mentioned this day, that I perfected the religion for you, completed my favor upon you, and have chosen for you Islam as religion. So this verse also states that Islam is both a complete and perfect religion. So it's only the believer who doesn't study will make it look like it is not perfect. Actually, it is perfect. Islam is a complete religion because firstly, its scope is comprehensive and all-embracing, in that its teaching embraces all dimensions of life and of death, for human and non-human alike. Secondly, it is relevant and applicable to all situation, locality, and time, through to it being a universal religion. Thirdly, it brings to completion all the other revelation given to the previous prophet, starting with the first prophet, Prophet Adam alayhi salam, and to the last Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam being the last and final prophet is therefore called the seal of prophet, Khatam al-Anbiya, being a complete religion and the final religion. No other revelation and prophets were therefore necessary after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So here, Islam is a perfect religion because it is already holistic in itself, containing all that is necessary for life on earth, for the individual and the communities. So for the Muslims and the non-Muslim, for human and non-human alike, everything in the form of guidance needed for existence for one and all is incorporated in Islam. The Quran states very clearly and that alteration should not be made to the religion, and this includes the adding on to its teaching or subtracting away from its teaching. Hence, not only cannot the teaching of the religion be altered, even the very name of the religion cannot be changed, thereby emphasizing the perfect nature of the religion. So here, revelation are guidance given by Allah Almighty to human beings so that humankind can live a fulfilling and fruitful life on earth. Since human beings are the creatures of God, so surely therefore God who created them knows perfectly who, what, and how they are. I repeat, since human beings are the creatures of Allah, so surely therefore Allah who created them knows perfectly who, what, and how they are, their nature, their needs, their strength, and their weaknesses. So that's why believe in the Qadar, and Qadar is important because Allah doesn't know of everything. Cannot be that Allah doesn't know and you know. Cannot be. Something is not right there. Okay? Because He knows our nature. He knows our needs. He knows our strength. And He knows our weakness. So it follows therefore that if the Almighty were to give revelation as a guidance to assist humankind in their earthly life and existence, then this revelation surely should fit the human character and should be able to address their needs on earth, and which indeed they do. Thus the Quran proclaimed that Islam the religion which is formed by this revelation is the standard religion and the archetypal religion, the religio naturalis, ad-din qayyim. So in this sense, that is a religion that suits perfectly the identity, the nature, the needs of humankind. As such, the guidance and the teaching of Islam can be adopted and adapted by all and sundry, even if the person may not wish to embrace the religion per se. As explained earlier, this is particularly so with regard to the social teaching of Islam. The Quran addresses all people, regardless of race, religion, past, present, whoever and whatever they are. The call of the Quran may be in general tone, addressing the whole of mankind, as in, O mankind, and sometimes you can hear the Quran uses the term, O children of Adam. It can also be specific, as in the addresses of the believers or Muslims, or you who believe, and it calls the people of the book. So in short, moreover, Islam being a truly monotheistic religion, has illustrated earlier, is therefore also inclusive and universal in nature in its operation. Okay, it's possible for Islam to be inclusive because it embodies within its structure the mechanism to accommodate everybody and everything, human and non-human alike. So it is possible for Islam to be universal because it possesses the dynamic which can and are indeed necessary to accommodate change and development that occur along with time and space. The religion thus possesses within its structure ample and adequate provision for flexibility to accommodate spatio-temporal developments and needs. Okay, does that help to widen your understanding? So this is what the level of heaven that I think most of us already know, right? The first one, that if you have a sound faith, that's what mentioned by our Sheikh Rizal. If you have a sound faith, there are some of these things already guaranteed. Second, second is consistent prayer, istiqamah in your prayer. Remember, this istiqamah in the prayer, can you see how arrogant we are? Even Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam and all other prophets seek Allah Ta'ala assistance so that they can be doing the prayer constantly, consistent, or rather steadfast, which is common that you hear, Rabbi ja'alni muqiman salah wa min zuriyati rabbana wa taqabbal du'a. Rabbi ja'alni muqiman salah. It's a clear dua which is being mentioned, and that you're not seeking Allah Ta'ala assistance, to help the Prophet being able to perform his prayer. So this is about the consistent prayer. See, we never bother to even ask Allah. Prophet asks. And then the third one, those who does not cling on to possession, whatever that you have, right? These are the level of heaven, but this doesn't mention the name of the heaven here, but it's telling you what are the qualifications for you to be able to enter the heaven you can choose. Okay, the fourth one are those who observe fasting and refrain from using obscenity. Then fifth is the perform pilgrimage without pretension or hypocrisy, as you know. It's already guaranteed, those who go for the pilgrimage. Al-Hajju Mabrur, as the Prophet mentioned, Al-Hajju Mabrur, Laisa Jaza illa Jannah. If the pilgrimage is being accepted, the reward is Jannah. And sickly is those who have great piety towards parents. And last, used to seek Allah's forgiveness until morning and give alms in secret and provide for offerings. So you can choose to be doing some of this act. This will be the qualification to allow you to enter paradise, despite of what is being mentioned just now. Rather than you just waiting for Allah's Ta'ala mercy without any effort being made by us, then you are in a very danger zone. Okay? What we are doing is actually trying to be good. We are not good, right? So don't misunderstand the teaching. And I will try and share more about these things mentioned here. Okay. Somebody was asking me, they text me, I don't know, I don't have the name of this person. Assalamu alaikum is mentioned in your slide about honey and wine given freely in paradise. So my question is about the wine. Just asking, is it the intoxicating type? The answer is of course no. It's not a stupid question, but it's a common question that normally people will be asking, right? So it's not a stupid question. Nothing is stupid. Okay? We are all here. It's in a learning process. Okay. So these are the paradise we're fighting for, mentioned in the various hadiths. There are 6 authentic hadith book, right? Sahih Muslim is one, Bukhari, Tirmidhi, and so on. Paradise is surrounded by hardship. Okay, hardship here mean here now in this world. Yeah, you know, who wants to be living a 3-room flat like my flat? Who wants to be living with just common flooring, not so glittering like in some other people's house, so white, so clean, and that kind of thing, right? Never mind lah, hardship for one, right? So you will be rewarded later. That's why the earlier generation, they even live like a chicken coop, if you have ever seen the late Alama Sheikh Khatib house, you know. It's very small because they know that, okay, now I live small, but later I get something. You can't be comparing. Thank you, Mr. Zaharuddin. I hope that answers your question about the wine. The wine are not the one like our wine, which is made in Malaysian breweries, but this wine is non-alcoholic. Because whatever the humans liking, right, Allah will prepare for us, and of course, it's all the best of the best. Okay. And this is why we should be thinking and hoping. Yes. Somebody question? Hello? You want to say something? Hello? Wana?
Yeah, Ustaz.
You want to say something? Any question?
Thank you for your huraian about the wine. Thank you.
Oh, it's okay. Alhamdulillah, thank you. Then in Sahih Bukhari again mentioned about the Prophet said when Ramadan begins, the gate of paradise are open. So these are, like I said just now, we have to strive. And Rukun Islam, the number 6 is actually jihad. The word strive is actually talking about jihad. We have to be, it is meant to be a prison, as what the next hadith says, you know, ad-dunya sijnu. Ad-dunya sijnu, the world is a prison for the believer, but paradise for the non-believer. So all these are already mentioned by the Prophet. Then what we have to do a self-reflection here, we have to consistently, you know, look into the quality of our prayer. Okay? And then when is your highest demand? All this we will know, right? and when is your lowest iman. Then how to raise yourself when you are down. I think most of this I have shared with you in my previous lessons. But as from time to time, I will sometimes be repeating again. So not to worry for those who miss. Besides, I also recommended books for you to be reading. I don't quite like to be recommending books because the problem with books is it does not have an elaboration, so it can be very misleading if you have understood wrongly. Okay, so you need to be knowing that, and then you need to be know, as again I've been repeated this. Nobody so far questioned me. How can I know whether whatever I do, Allah is pleased with me? And the common question that I normally will receive is my prayer valid or not? Sah ke tak sah? That one you already know the answer. But nobody question whether it's been accepted or not. Or whether it's Allah pleased with what I'm doing. So these are the self-reflection while I'm still alive. You know, we can always come to a discussion about these things. Right? Then how would Prophet Muhammad approach my problems? This depends on most of the thing I mentioned just now has already been answered by the religion. Then you need to also check yourself. Are you following the Quran and Sunnah or not? Okay? So this leads to what I want to be sharing again with you earlier, right? Indeed, as discussed, this dynamism to address situational needs, and I think I have read that. So Muslims are seriously reminded not to make alteration to the teaching of Islam, let alone to distort the teaching. Furthermore, Muslims are also reminded to keep on to the straight path, which is as-sirat al-mustaqim, and not to fall astray or to be deviated from this straight path. And this straight path is the religion of Allah, that is Islam and its teaching. Okay? So in Islam, the mechanism that safeguard consistency has what mentioned here, and which at the same time, which at the same time also provide dynamism for flexibility and growth are the tenets which guide, color, and formulate thoughts, pattern, worldview, and value system of Muslim throughout age. Ever since the day of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, although these tenets provide the flexibilities for expansion, they themselves, however, are unalterable, for they in fact form a very fundamental of the religion. So this include the tenets of the paradigms of submission, al-Islam, al-Islam, and al-Ibadah, the creed of Shahadatain of the religion, Arkanul Islam, and then of Arkanul Iman, the personality, al-Ihsan, of ethics and etiquette, al-Akhlaq wal-Adab, of the worldview, Tawheed, of the correlation, Habba min Allah wa Habba min al-Nas, of the intrapersonal and the interpersonal dimension, Abdullah wa Khalifatullah, of social conduct and other Sharia, among others. Indeed, it is the adherence and the observance of these tenets that makes a Muslim a Muslim. Okay? Although these tenets are in themselves fixed, they, however, provide dynamic for development and progress to blossom. So these mean that change and development should move and grow only within the perimeter of these tenets and as guided by them. In this way, the tenets ensure that the structure, the substance, and the spirit of the religion are not changed as human history moves on and as human character change with time. So as such, the fundamental always persists and are consistent despite the necessary change that took place along with time. Indeed, consistency and conformity to the fundamentals are firmly insisted upon, regardless of age and place, regardless of situation and circumstances, regardless of progress and development. Therefore, although Islam motivates and inspires Muslims to progress and likewise to lead others to progress materially and intellectually and spiritually, but this, however, should not lead to unacceptable conduct such as violence, abuses, exploitation, injustice in whatever form they may be or under whatever guise and banner. So this may be carried out or committed upon Muslims or the non-Muslim. By Muslim or non-Muslim, the human or the non-human alike. Okay. Then you can see on the right side is you need to perform the pilgrimage as soon as possible. This is the completion of the Arkanul Islam. And then at the same time, improve your act of worship. These checklists are very useful. You know, we can try and improve our ibadah, our act of worship in quality and not in quantity. So the problem in this modern world is they don't have this checklist. So what happens is normally they improve on the quantity of the ibadah, meaning they do too many, you know, too many ibadah, but without quality. Careful, huh? Allah doesn't need you to be doing prayer from morning to midnight. No, that is not true. But He wants you to do sincerely, you do it sincerely. Then the other is influence of others around us, again in positive manner. And as I think we are reading that book of Imam Raja Hamali that talks about mix with the good company. You find a good friend. A good friend is defined in the religion as people who practices the religion. Then they are considered as good. Okay. I mean, not name, not because of the name Lola, Ibrahim, Osman, but then they are, you know, they influence you on others, then there will be a problem. And that is one of our weaknesses too, you know, if you want to be denying it. But if you are the one that is very fond of technology, like in today's context, you will find that you will be holding the cell phone 24/7, 24 hours and 24/7. Okay, be careful of all this. Then find a way to secure your journey to Jannah and help your loved one to keep them on track. YOLO means you only like once in an Islamic name and have hope. This is the checklist that we should try and ask ourselves all these questions. Any question based on this checklist? Anybody? No question.
No, Ustaz.
No question, then I will read to you again. As such, this world is therefore a testing ground. Okay? This world is a testing ground or a venue in which a person proves his worthiness. Thus, man present in this world is not a mere coincidence of nature, and neither is it purposeless. On the contrary, he is here on earth to prove his worthiness in the service of his Lord, Creator, Supreme, to administer and manage this earth for him. As mentioned earlier, Abdullah wa Khalifatullah. As Allah mentioned here in the Quran in chapter 47 verse 31, which means, and we Allah shall try you until we test those among you who strive their utmost and persevere in patience, and we shall try your testimony of determination. So in this sense, this world therefore deserves more attention and consideration than the world before and the world after, since it is this world that determine or determine in that there is no returning back to this world. I think all of us know that, isn't it? Once a person has passed it, that is, there is no second chance for return to this world, to this earthly life, yet again to undo wrong that have been committed before. This, of course, is very different from the concept of clinical time or rebirth, where the person is reborn again and again until he gains perfection to qualify him for liberation from the cycle of rebirth. All monotheistic religion too, like Islam, uphold the concept of linear time. And therefore, all monotheistic religion too believe that this world is once for all affair, no returning back to this life to make reparation. Thus, life here on earth in this world should be taken very seriously indeed. Okay? Any other? So the choice is yours, right? What are your choice? Anybody want to list out? Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Paradise, Ustaz.
Huh? Berida exercise. I can't hear you. Huh?
For me, my choice,
Ah,
paradise. Ah.
I heard something else. That is a wise choice, Isa, but you know, right? When you choose something, you know, like commonly we know, right? In this world, if you want to buy something very exclusive, and normally these like precious gems or whatever, you know, it will not be lying around on the floor, isn't it? It is guarded, you know, with security cameras and this and that, right? So the same with Jannah, you know, Jannah is guarded with hardship. And Allah has frankly told us, you know, La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. He doesn't burden us. I said what is within our capacity. What we cannot, that is Allah's affair. Okay? Then this will bring to the understanding of our identity entity. To understand what human being is all about, it is necessary first to know the human composition or the entities as well as human identity and nature. So this knowledge is essential if a person is to understand himself comprehensively and in total. It is also important to understand why human beings come to this earth, because this knowledge will help a person understand his direction and thus help him keep on track, so to speak. So that the end of his life here on earth, the mission for his coming to this world will be duly fulfilled. And so that there will be no shock, regrets at the end of this time here. So in short, the question of who, what, and why needs to be addressed. That is who a human being is, what a human being is, and why the human being is here in this world. So this will be your homework, inshallah. Okay? Shall we continue, boss? Finish. Yes, Isa. Got any more questions?
No, Ustaz.
Oh, slide finish.
Yes, Ustaz, finished already. That's
Okay,
last slide.
then let me read to you quickly about understanding responsibility and accountability.